Hi, this is Mrs. Rodriguez with another lesson video. Today we're going to look at subtracting fractions. So, the steps for subtracting fractions are, first, number one, you must have a common denominator. If you do not, you need to use the least common multiple and convert your fractions. So it's just like adding fractions. When you subtract fractions, you still need that common denominator. Step two, use the rules for subtracting integers for the numerators. So then you're going to take those numerators, meaning the top numbers of your fractions, and you're going to subtract them using the same rules that we used for subtracting integers. Step three, the denominator stays the same. Step four, simplify if you can. Remember, you're not always going to be able to simplify. So let's go ahead and get started and do the first example. So we have 3/8 minus 4/6. The first thing I notice is they do not have a common denominator, meaning the bottom numbers are not the same. So I'm going to have to convert these fractions or change them so that they are the same. To do that, I'm going to find the least common multiple, meaning the smallest number that both 8 and 6 multiply into. So I'm going to make my chart. 6, 8. And I recommend just starting with the first 4 multiples. Oops, so that means we're going to do times 1, times 2, times 3, and times 4. So 6 times 1 is 6, 6 times 2 is 12, 6 times 3 is 18, 6 times 4 is 24. 8 times 1 is 8, 8 times 2 is 16, 8 times 3 is 24, 8 times 4 is 32. Now I'm going to look at my chart and see, do I have a number in common, meaning the same, that both 6 and 8 go into? And we're looking for the smallest one. So, yes, we have 24 for 6 and 24 for 8. So that's now going to be my common denominator. So that means I have to change 3/8 so that it has a 24 on the bottom, and I have to change 4/6 so that it has a 24 on the bottom. Now, we look at our table and go, what did we multiply by 8 to get 24? We multiplied by 3. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So 3 times 3 is 9. What did we multiply that 6 to get the 24? We multiplied by 4. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. So that's going to be 16 over 24. And now this becomes 9 over 24 minus 16 over 24. Now, we have our common denominators. Now we use the same rules for subtracting integers. If you'll remember from the last video, when you subtract integers, you change that subtraction sign. Let me make it a little bigger. You change that subtraction sign to addition, and the second number, you change its sign to the opposite. So we have a positive 16, so this is going to become a negative 16. Okay. Then our next step with subtracting integers is you look and see, are the signs the same or are they different? The signs are different, so we subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. So that's going to be 16 minus 9, which is 7. 16 is the bigger number, so my answer is going to be negative. So it's going to be a negative 7 on top. Step 3 is keep the denominator the same, so we're just going to keep 24 on the bottom. And then step 4 says simplify if you can. And negative 7 over 24, 7 doesn't go into 24, it doesn't have anything divisible. That's the same as 24, so we cannot simplify, and that's our final answer. Negative 7 over 24. So let's go ahead and check out the next example. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line, splitting it up so we don't get confused. And now I have negative 3/4 minus 5/3. Once again, we're going to follow the same steps. First step, must have a common denominator. Well, I look and they don't. So I'm going to draw my chart. So I'm going to have, oops, I'm going to have 4 and 3. Remember, you want to go out to 4 places or 4 multiples. We can always make the chart bigger if we don't find any common numbers. Let's go ahead and choose this color. I'm going to do times 1, times 2, times 3, and times 4. So 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8, 4 times 3 is 12, 4 times 4 is 16. Now I'm going to do the multiples of 3. 3 times 1 is 3, 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12. And then I look at my chart and I go, okay, do they have any numbers that are the same? And they do. They have 12. So that means that my denominator, the bottom number, is supposed to be a 12. So this is going to be, oopsie, 3/4 is going to change so that there's a 12 on the bottom. And 5/3 is going to change so that it has a 12 on the bottom. And we look at our chart and we go, okay, so what do we multiply that 4 by to get the 12? And we multiplied by 3. Whatever do the bottom, we have to do the top. So it becomes a 9 on top. What do we do to the 3 to get 12? Well, we multiply by 4. Whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do the top. And you get 20 over 12. So that means that we actually have 9 over 12 minus 20 over 12. So now that we have a common denominator, meaning both numbers are the same, we can go ahead and move on to the second step. Use the rules for subtracting integers for numerators. Okay, so the numerators are the top number. We have 9 minus 20. So if you'll remember, in subtraction, we change the subtraction to addition, and we take that second number and make it have the opposite sign. So we have a positive 20, so this is going to become a negative 20. The 9's positive, the 20 is negative. So now we follow the rules for addition of integers, and we subtract because the signs are different. So 20 minus 9 is 11. 20 is the bigger number, so that means my answer is going to be negative 11. Step 3, the denominator stays the same, so that's 12. And step 4, simplify if you can. Can't simplify anymore, so our answer is going to be negative 11 over 12. Okay, so biggest things to remember, you need to have those least common, you need to have those common denominators by finding the least common multiple, okay? Then change your fractions, and then you're going to follow the rules for subtracting integers. You're going to change that subtraction sign to addition. You're going to make that second number sign the opposite. So if that second number is positive, it becomes negative. If the second number is negative, it becomes positive. And then you follow the rules for adding integers. The signs are opposite, you subtract, take the sign of the bigger number. If the signs are the same, you add them together and keep the sign. And as always, if you need any additional help or have any questions, feel free to see me during office hours. Hope you have a great day. Bye.